have to get this done. I just have to. If I don't do it now, I'll never get it done. Hi, hello, bonjour, annyeonghaseyo. My name is Elle, and I'm back with another video. Oh, I sound like I sound like a YouTuber now. I am here today to rank some of my fears that I have. I have 12 here because I wanted to make it short. I wanted to make it sweet. I wanted to make it quick. I'm scared of a lot. I just felt like if I narrowed it down to the ones that seem a little bit more absurd, it would be like kind of cool and funky and fresh. Should I take my glasses off? We'll do it like this for now. And if they fall, then that means I should keep them on. I have 5 categories here. Well, I'll go from like least to most extreme. The least one is understandable, have a good day. And these are just fears that like most people probably have. So it makes sense that I would have them too, as someone who is scared of everything. And I already put them back on. That's the best way I can explain it. The next tier is that kind of makes sense. And I mean this in the way of like, okay, I see how you got there, but still it's kind of a little weird. Third tier is this could make sense in like certain scenarios, but for the most part in your everyday life, you will not have to worry about this. So it's just a okay. The next tier is side eye. Side eye. It really is never that serious. It will never be that serious. So why do you think that this is a big fear of yours? I'm side-eyeing you. The last tier is girl, what the fuck is you talking about? This just doesn't make sense. I only have 12 things here, so this will be a very, very quick, short video. I just wanted to burst in. Hi. See you guys in the more YouTuber professional way instead of my vlogs. First fear is men. No, come on. Like, it is scary. It's a scary world out there. It makes sense. Like, no questions about why that is scary. The next one is potholes and grates. So for those who might not know, like when you're driving and there are those little like sewer things that you drive over and it like drives over and it makes that sound, it's very scary to me. I used to watch those Wile E cartoons and those like Bugs Bunny cartoons, Looney Tunes just in general, and there was always that moment where like the pothole would like get bigger and they would like look at the camera and be like bye-bye, and then they'd sink in. When I was a child, I just had this fear that like one day a pothole would just expand when our car was driving over it and I would fall in. So that was very terrifying, and I still kind of have that fear every once in a while. I slashed it with grates because in New York, I mean, I guess anywhere where there's a metro, they have these grates for where the trains run, I guess to like give more air to the trains or whatever, but I just hate walking over them because I just have a big fear that I'll like fall in and I won't be able to escape because I'll be falling like 5-10 feet into the train, and then the train comes and you're dead, you're gone. With that explanation, I kind of think like it kind of makes sense why I'd be scared of them. At the same time, it's such a low possibility, so I feel like it should go in It's kind of like a okay, like you're a grown up. You should not be still fearing these things as a grown up. I think I'll put it in The next one is humans exploding. So I actually don't remember who I was talking to, but I remember the conversation the first time I ever heard about this. Apparently, us as humans, sometimes our bodies can like overheat, and they can overheat to the point that you just explode. And so the way that I'm imagining it is kind of like a tea kettle, and then it just goes like boom in like the bomb kind of way, and then your blood and your guts are all like splattered all over the place, and that is genuinely terrifying. When my friend was talking to me about it, I was like, shut up, do not talk about it, like la, I don't want to hear about it, it's scaring me. And this was a fear that I have developed when I turned around like 20. So this was like, I learned about this like a year or two ago. It's a fear that I currently have, and it's very strong. They were trying to reassure me, and they were like, no, it's so rare. But then they got into a story about this old lady who exploded, and the fire department came, and they were like, what happened? It's like so messy in here. And then they found out that she exploded, and then I was like terrified. I'm like, I'm going to explode. Like, now that you've told me that, now that my body's aware that it can explode, it will explode. So thanks. I'm going to put that I mean, it kind of makes sense because it is, while rare, still very scary, but I'm gonna put it in side eye because it's rare. So it's just like, you're not gonna explode, relax. It's still very scary to me though. I'm terrified. The next one is costumes. And so this is kind of linked with like the Demons in Clouds clowns one. I just didn't want to type out like people in costumes. For the most part, like costumes are okay. Halloween is genuinely the worst for me because everybody's wearing costumes that cover their face. I'm okay with like if you go to Disneyland and you know they have the Disney characters, like I recognize that they're actors and I'm okay. Like I'm not scared of them. But if it's like those Mickey Mouse things, like those people in the Mickey Mouse suits and they're like, oh my gosh, terrifying. I know that's such a stupid fear, so I'll put it in girl, what the fuck is you talking about? So the next one, crocodile/snakes in the toilet. This was so long ago. This is a fear from since I was young. But I remember it probably came from my trip to Louisiana because my childhood best friend, there's so many stories with her. We used to fight all the time, but then we became best friends in like 5th grade. We went to visit her in New Orleans, not Louisiana, New Orleans. I remember my mom and I were in the hotel. She turned it on to go to bed, like because we were supposed to go to bed. I was just like watching it because I couldn't fall asleep. The TV was talking about how New Orleans has like a lot of crocodile. Actually, let me look this up because I don't want to be wrong. Because I'm not trying to hear, actually, they have alligators. Alligators, okay, they have alligators. So I can't switch the picture, but honestly, crocs, alligators, snakes, all 3 of them in your toilet. The show was talking about how there's a lot of swamps in New Orleans and there are a lot of alligators there. I was like, okay, like we're not near a swamp, so it's fine. I can't remember. Does anybody remember this show? It was a show, I think it was called like 1,000 Ways to Die. And yo, this show is so it was a show about like these, maybe people sent in stories or maybe they were making it up. I can't remember because I was so young when the show used to air. But it would show you every episode a bunch of ways that people have died, and they would have like actors tell the story and stuff. Maybe that didn't happen, but I'm gonna look up the show to see. And I remember there was one story about like how somebody got a heart attack during sex, and I was like so scared. I was like terrified. I was like, I don't even know what I'm watching. What is going on the screen? I just knew that they had a heart attack. Like I didn't know what sex was at the time either. So I was just like, oh my gosh, if I hug a man, I'm going to die. In this 1,000 Ways to Die episode, they were talking about like this girl was sitting, like she was using the bathroom. A crocodile came up from the toilet, like crawled through the pipes and came up through the toilet and like basically attacked her down there, and then she bled out and she died. I was just like, this is not I'm going to put this in girl, what the fuck is you talking about? Because I still have the fear. That's the problem. The problem is that every once in a while when I'm using this bathroom, I'm like, now what if a snake just came up here? Girl, be so for real. I found it. Oh, I had to sneeze. Whoa. Thank you. I found the show. It isn't real. It's a docu-fiction, so I guess like they have just made it up. But whoever the sick and twisted people who made it up were, they need to be reevaluated because some of the stuff that they were thinking about how to die over, I was just like, oh no. I was like lightly scrolling through some of the episodes and I can't find the crock pipe one. Crock pipe. That sounds like something else. The crocodile pipes. Or was it a snake? I can't remember. It was so long ago. But I can't find it. But I actually am sure that like someone who's from Florida, because I have a friend who lives in Florida, I'm pretty sure she has mentioned that like, you know, they do show up in the toilet sometimes because they like crawl through the pipes. Like I am pretty sure that is a real thing in Florida. It's pretty valid to have such a fear, even though I live in California. The next one is the dark. And honestly, I'm not that scared of the dark as much anymore. Like it's only if I'm watching something scary the night before, or like if I start, like once the sun goes down, if I'm watching like Berlin and he's playing a scary game, I miss you, bro. Then I start to get fearful of the dark, but for the most part, I'm usually fine with the dark. It is an understandable fear, so I'm going to put that in understandable. Have a good day. So demon/clown. Honestly, it is very understandable, the demons part, but clowns are not. So I'm going to put it in that kind of makes sense. But let me explain to you my fear of clowns, my origin story of my fear of clowns. I don't even know if it was a friend's birthday party. I don't remember exactly where I was. And honestly, the reason that I don't remember it so much is because it was genuinely so, you know, when like something traumatic happens to you and you whenever you think back on that memory, you swear that you dreamed it. Like it was just kind of that traumatic that didn't feel real. This is how it feels. But the problem is, it wasn't, I don't know, it just doesn't seem that traumatic if you think about it, but it just feels like I dreamed it. Even if it was a dream, I guess the dream was so scary that I still have this fear to this day. Because I was like 7 when this happened. I was really young. I wasn't even in like middle school yet. I was at a birthday party and they had like a magician and stuff, and we were just like having a good time, and it was kind of like a store that this birthday party was happening in. There were floor to ceiling windows that looked into the party storage. What are they even called? The party rooms, I guess. So there was floor to ceiling windows looking into the party room. Then there was the party room where all the kids were, and there was like a little half circle stage where there was like a magician doing his thing. And I was sitting in a chair with my back to the floor to window ceiling. To the floor to ceiling windows. I had a view of the stage on this side with the half circle, and all the kids were playing ha ha ha. And then there was a huge door, genuinely, it was a very big door. It was just the opening. It wasn't a door. It was kind of like a walkway, and you could look into the hallway. And it was dark. Like if you looked all the way to the back, you couldn't see the storage room door that was like where all of the employees would stay. It was just there. And so I'm sitting there, I'm watching the magician show, and I'm sitting in the back, and my mom was there, I think. I can't remember her being there. And then I look over to the area with the like pitch black hallway because I heard a door close, and out walked this like the most menacing, scariest creature that I've never seen before. The makeup was like, it wasn't like this, but in my mind, the makeup looked like melted, and it was set in a frown. His hair was like drooping, and I think that was just because the poor guy was like sweating. He was just sweating, and the costume was really cheap. At the same time, could you imagine as a 7-year-old seeing that like slowly walking out of the darkness? It was terrifying. And then when he spoke, he just had like a really, really raspy, deep voice. And when he spoke, like even the other kids kind of like jumped a little bit because they were not expecting his voice to be that deep. Like think Corpse, think Felix, but like not cool. I don't know how to explain it. Like think of that, but like in a scary way. And he started doing like balloon animals and stuff. For some reason, I could not, like my whole body was frozen, and I just could not be around him. I was like, if I stand next to him, I'll literally will have a panic attack. I didn't know what a panic attack was at the time, obviously, but I just felt this straight fear even just looking at that man. Since then, because I realized when I was young, I still do that now. I psychoanalyze everything, and so especially when I was young, so I was trying to evaluate like, why do I feel scared of him? And then I thought maybe it's because I can't see his face, maybe it's because I don't know who he is. But it was just such a paralyzing fear. I'm literally getting like goosebumps talking about it again. I've only talked to one person about this story. Like it's it's just ugh. That is where my fear of clowns came from. And so like every time I see a clown, I'm not like as scared, but I do have the fear. I have the feeling of wanting to cry. Like my eyes will start tearing up and I'll start shaking a little bit. But I've worked very hard to like harbor it down and use it for laughs so other people don't feel uncomfortable. But like that and costume, those ones are really scary. And the costumes thing stemmed from clowns because of that. And also there's this Bratz movie that I was obsessed with, and there's a really cool creator who like reviewed the Bratz movie, and it's about like, it's the Bratz sleepover movie, and it's the one where they're telling scary stories to everyone. Bro, that one, nightmare fuel. Like I was obsessed with it, but I just enjoy being scared, I guess, because it genuinely was so scary. In one of the girls' stories, there's this huge clown like sign that she sees every time she's trying to leave the amusement park, and it does this weird like kind of laugh, and it was lit very dark. Oh my gosh, it just fueled that fire. So because of that, I'm going to put it in that kind of makes sense, because now that you've heard my origin story, you understand why I fear them. There is actually one clown that I don't fear, and let me look her up. JoJo the Killer Clown. I'm good. I haven't even watched it, by the way. 2016, with those killer clowns going around, it was genuinely a very hard time for me. I was 14. So I was like, in 9th going into 10th grade, because it was during the summer. I barely went outside. It was very scary. What the heck? There was this girl, right? And it was on PBS Kids. And she would, I just remember that she had this like comfy couch that she would always sit on. And then when she was trying to figure out the time, she had this like clock map. And she would lie down on it and she'd be like, get down, lie down with me. And then she would like raise her arms to do like the hours and stuff. And then she would like move her legs to do the hours. Oh my gosh. Clown comfy couch. The big comfy couch. I'm gonna start crying. Oh my gosh. I haven't watched this in so long. I'm genuinely about to start crying. Oh my gosh. I haven't watched this in ages. And she's so like, I'm literally about to start crying. Stop it. She had this huge comfy couch. And she'd like spend her days in there, and she had a little puppet. Yes, I remember these socks. And then she would lie on the couch. Oh my gosh, I'm about to start crying. Yes! Oh my gosh, I'm gonna watch this later. The reason that I'm not scared of her looking at it now is because she doesn't look like a clown. I can see her face very well, but I always thought she was a clown, and I was like, clowns are scary, but I'm okay with you. But she doesn't look like a clown at all. She just has a nose, and she put freckles on her face, but I can see her face very well, so I understand why I wasn't scared of her. But those clowns with like the like white paint, the nose, and like to the point where you literally can't even tell who that is under it, especially if you're a stranger to them. No, very, very scary, and it's because of that. So next is the Mist movie, and also there's a reason why I'm scared of this movie. I actually want to rewatch it at some point because I want to see if it really is as scary as I thought it was. I was at my mononc and Tati's house, and this was the first time I ever slept over at this Tati's house before. And for some reason I was sleeping over there, and this was my first time hanging out with my cousins from that Tati like overnight, because we would usually see each other for like Easter. Like it was a tradition that we would go there for Easter and for Thanksgiving. I have an older male cousin and then two female older cousins. So one of my older female cousins was like in the basement because they had this really cool, I don't know if it was that cool, but to a kid it was very cool. They just had a lot of like gadgets and toys down there in their basement, and then they had like a little computer my cousin would play games on. Like she was always down there playing games, and so I would just sit and like watch her, and I could tell that she was probably like annoyed with me, but I was still always there. And so I was watching her, and then I came upstairs, and it was like around the time that it was about to get dark, and the adults were all watching the Mist movie. I didn't see a lot of it. I think I was just standing there because my cousin had said, you know what, I'll just take you on a walk because you're bothering me so much, so let's just go out on a walk, and we need to walk the dog. I think they had a dog, I can't remember. And so I was like, okay. So I was standing by the door waiting. I was watching the movie while they were watching it, and there was a specific scene. I'll play it here if I can find it. And it was just this one scene. I didn't see the rest of the movie. I don't even know how it ends. A bloody handprint, and then they get like dragged away. And that is when my family noticed that I was standing there, and they turned around and they were like, oh my gosh, like go outside, do not watch, go outside. As much as the movie was scary, their reaction to me seeing the movie was scarier than the movie. So I was like shook. I was like big shook. We had started going on a walk, my cousin and I, and it was a foggy day. In my mind, I'm like, the mist is here. Why are we outside? The mist is here. We're going to die. I went to sleep in my cousin's room, and I just remember staring outside, staring at the moon, because I could not fall asleep because I was so terrified. I'm not as scared of it now, but I did put it in here for that reason. So because I'm not scared of it now, and it was just like a childhood fear, I'll put it in that kind of makes sense, because the whole reaction of it and stuff like that, it makes sense why I was ending up like that. So Next one is throwing up. I don't have that phobia that people have. It's just whenever I see people throwing up or I hear about it for too long, I just get the sickly feeling in my stomach and I like have to throw up. So it's a fear of mine in that kind of sense. So I'll put it in, I mean, that kind of makes sense why I would be like scared of that. So I think I'm gonna put it in that kind of makes sense, yeah. Okay, the next one is holes. So I literally mean like holes. Like if I look at a spider web for too long, even it gives me like goosebumps and it's really nasty. And I spoke about it in my first ever video that I did. Like the feeling is just, I'm just gonna put it in side eye though, because it's not really like a phobia, but it's very close to being a phobia, you know? So I'm just gonna side eye it because, the reason why I'm side eyeing it is because I feel like it was a fear that I made up. When I was really young, I had heard about it. I heard about like, oh, there's a phobia of holes. And I was like, that's so silly. And then I just started staring at holes all the time. I remember doing that. I used to stare at holes all the time and I was like, this is scary. This isn't scary. This isn't scary. And then I kept looking at them and I'm like, wait. And then eventually it started to get scary. So I'm side eyeing myself because I gave myself that fear. Like it's not like something happened to me with that. Like I gave myself that fear. Next one is empty rooms, like kind of like the Backrooms-esque. There's not much to say about it. Like just the idea of being in a room alone, just the idea of waking up in a room and you're like alone, but it's like a desolate room. Like my room is alone, like I'm alone in my apartment, but there's a lot of stuff in here. It's my room, I feel comfortable, but for an empty rooms, I just always have my brain likes to think like, haha, what if someone comes in here and ring, like nobody's gonna find you. Empty rooms, I'm gonna put that in, okay, sure. Still girl, like it's really not that serious. The last fear, now this one, it's immediately going into girl, what the fuck is he talking about? Holes the movie. I watched this movie in school, I remember. We read the book Holes in elementary school and in middle school too. Whenever we would finish a book, the teacher would reward us by letting us watch the movie, and then we'd have like chips and snacks and cake and juice and all of that. It was just like the whole day is like a movie day, and we just watched the movie that we had read the whole book on. And then after that, she'd be like, so what was different in the book that wasn't in the movie? Or what was in the movie that wasn't in the book? It actually like really helped my love of cinema and stuff because it really made me aware of how much things will have to be changed for the screen, or how different people will take different interpretations of books, and once they put it to screen they will add things or take things out because they felt like, oh, this doesn't make sense, or this is hard to adapt into the screen version and stuff like that. So that was very helpful. When I watched the movie, the evil woman really scared me because back then she doesn't look like that. I don't know, my brain, maybe because it was dark or I was tired or something. She just looked so like skeleton-esque, and so she really scared me. So every time I saw her, I would be freaked out whenever she was on screen because I was like, oh my gosh, like a skeleton is talking, like I'm scared. I'm so sorry to that actress. Like, girl, you look very healthy, very nice. So that was one reason why I was scared. The second reason was because of the meme that everybody's like, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad. You keep digging. He scared the life out of me. I don't even know why. It was just like maybe his cadence or whatever. It was just terrifying. I couldn't watch the movie for years. Oh, mommy. Hold on. Okay. I couldn't watch the movie for years because I was just like deathly afraid to hear him go, that's too damn bad. You keep digging. But now I find it funny. Like every time I hear it, I do quote it a lot. Like I've quoted it to my friends a couple of times because I think it's really funny now. But back then I had like a crippling fear of that grandpa and that lady for no reason. So I'm gonna put it in, girl, what the fuck is you talking about? So yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you for watching this video. It is very much on the shorter side, but there is a vlog coming out and that will be longer. So you get to see my beautiful face another day. Aren't you so happy? I love you guys so much. 사랑해요. Te quiero mucho. Te llamo. Je t'aime. Wenrenmen u. Aiste mas. German. Oh, frick. Ich I just wanted to pop in a little hey. I will see you, well, you'll see me on Wednesday, but this me will see you on Monday. Bye-bye. So much love. Love.